Morning, everyone. Bill Hurtado with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. Frederick, Colorado, we're northern Colorado. Denver's 25 miles south of me right here. So we're central in the nation, very easy to get to from everywhere. We do a lot of out-of-state business, especially when it comes to a really nice pre-owned unit right here that I want to talk about today. We just took in this 2016 Itasca Navion. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Winnebago products, you'll maybe be asking, hey, you know, which is it? Is it a Winnebago or is it an Itasca? Well, this is a 2016. This was the final year for Itasca when they decided to combine the two companies together. Throughout the tenure of Itasca, let's say, they used to be more of a deluxe model of the Winnebago. They made the exact same floor plans. The interior colors, carpet, things like that changed slightly. Graphics on the outside, but they were identical units. They came down Winnebago's line side by side. In 2017, they decided to combine the two names together. Coincidentally, through the 80s and 90s, I worked as a Winnebago technician at an Itasca dealership for 11 years. So I watched this transition take place closely because of my history with Winnebago. So that being said, you understand now that Winnebago and Itasca, by this point right here, were identical products. And as it turns out, they went and combined everything together. So we here in Frederick at Transwest, we are a Winnebago dealer and we carry the Navion. So Itasca Navion in 2016, since then it's always been a Winnebago Navion. And some of you have seen the View. Winnebago makes both the View and the Navion. And as I stated, they're still identical products today. Okay. So let's talk about this 2016. This is a model 24M, which evolved into the 24D, which some of you may have seen me do some videos on the D. It's a great floor plan. I really love it. But this is what inspired the D, and they made some changes along the way, and I'll talk about that. But this is still your 3-liter V6 diesel by Mercedes with 188 horsepower, 325 foot-pounds of torque. This has a 5-speed transmission on this model right here. Now, the previous owner decided to black out his Mercedes wheels on here, which is nice. It looks good. But we still have the original wheel covers, the chrome wheel covers. If you want those put back on, that's very easy. This does have the electric patio awning on here. You may be able to see that patio light up there, very nice. As we work our way back, I'll point some things out here. In this compartment right here, there is a 1,000 watt pro sine wave inverter up in there that remotely turns on from the inside. We do have the standard absorption style refrigerator, runs on gas or electric. And this is interesting. This was a thing that people did back in the days when they had a dual side vent because they wanted really good drafting. Keep that back of the refrigerator cool so it cools better on the inside. And these little devices actually met the match. So you'll see those top and bottom, and that allows the heat to draft out of here much easier. So pretty cool little invention somebody came up with back in the day. We also have 20,000 BTU forced air furnace on this one. And this is your Atwood water heater right here. So conventional water heater, 6-gallon capacity on that. Okay, so we've got the 3600 watt LP generator over here. So pretty simple design on that. Been doing it for a long time now. This is very similar to today's Navion in the 24D. The exact same outside compartment here. From the inside in the closet, you can lift out the floor of this thing, so you can actually put really tall items up in there if you so desire. But furthermore, you can actually access this outside storage area from the inside by doing so. So nice design, they certainly stuck with that. Over here we just have an extra little space. That is also the white rotocast one-piece polyethylene compartment right there that has a 400-pound capacity in there. So very nice. Okay, so as we work our way back here, a few things I've noticed. The previous owner, he added these two receivers down here. They look like a receiver for a Subaru or something that you would carry a bike rack on. So he evidently has a rack that slid into this thing and gives it much more support being on the outboard sides like that, as opposed to the racks you see nowadays that are just a single point. They tend to teeter this way quite a bit. So certainly something you can have built for you with a nice solid rack for extra storage if you so desire. We do have 5,000-pound receiver hitch on here, 7-way plug. So very nice in that regard. This was really common back in the day, the Continental tire cover. So very sharp looking. As we move over here, our wet bay right here is very simple. Over to the right, you got your 30-amp cord that drops down through the bottom, so you're plugging in at the campground. And then your gray and black valves are built up inside that heated zone right there, so you're not going to have to worry about freezing this thing. As long as you keep it warm inside, you're not going to have any freezing going on out here. And then low point drains on there. Pretty simple, you know. It's not very different than what we have today, so they're still sticking with a winner. That sewer hose storage down below down there. Oh, I'm sorry, the sewer hose storage is up inside right there. This has some nice aftermarket batteries that were just put in recently right here. So those are the high capacity. The brand name slips my mind, but those are really nice because they're vapor-free sealed batteries. And let's see, okay, so inside under the dinette over here is where our freshwater tank is. That's 32-gallon supply. And there's our gravity fill for the tank that's inside. Over here, you can see that the previous owner added a little shelf in there for a little extra space, and that's fine. That works out okay. Over here, those are those wheel covers I was talking about. So if you choose to have those put on, we can pop them on in a matter of minutes. Interesting change they made since this era on this 2016. The propane fill is right behind the driver right here, and a lot of people miss that, but that's where that is. So a simple on-off switch for that. And still today they have the same arrangement with your fuel fill over here. So as long as the door is closed, it's essentially a locking hatch for your 26 gallons of fuel that you carry on board. All right, let's go around to the inside. Like I mentioned, very similar to the 24D that we've had for several years now, but a little different nonetheless. One thing that's similar to the 24D is that full wall slide goes all the way back to the bathroom wall. So incredibly spacious in here, lots of floor space. The other thing you get with a large slide is a very large galley in this one. And this hasn't changed a lot other than the new ones have the microwave down here, convection microwave. So 4 drawers where this has 6. And a huge space under the counter right here. A lot of people prefer the microwave up higher. This is convection also, by the way. But you know, if you're this tall, it's a different story. So, working our way back, let me go all the way back to the bathroom. Hard to see in here, but like I said, this compartment right here, the floor will lift out of there. There's a place to set the table off to the left. So nice and spacious, good sized closet area for hanging. Really no different than today's 24D. All right, overhead medicine cabinet. Previous owner put in these little things to stop stuff from falling out of there. And the shower is very similar, a little bit different design in the new one. Whoop, my bad. I bumped the little hanger out of here. So still plenty of room. At 6 feet tall, I can get in here and do what I need to do just fine. So the new ones, instead of having a curtain go across here, they've got the slider panel. But still very nice, works great. All right, up here is what I would kind of call command central. So I move my slide room in and out over here. I do have added solar to this thing. The previous owner put 140 watts, 2 panels are up there. And I can turn my propane on from here. I can heat my tanks in severe cold weather with this. There's the remote start for the 1,000-watt inverter, and then turn my water pump on, check my tank levels, start and stop the generator, all from this area. And in the interest of tradition, if you will, I like the fact that they hid all this stuff in behind a door, gives it a nice clean look through the whole thing. So not all these switches and buttons and LED lights and stuff sticking out. This hasn't changed much. They've got the same slide out trays. So lots of pantry storage right there. And then of course your AC breakers and fuses are right below that. That bottom white round thing is a hatch, so you can get to the back side of the water heater and bypass it when it comes time to winterize. All right, so the refrigerator in this thing is pretty generous sized. A lot of simplicity with this thing. I might call this the liquor cabinet. Again, could be a little bit of an issue for very short people. Conventional dinette. Now, this is where some of the big changes came between this 24M and today's 24D. So this entire apparatus over here is reversed on the new ones, where you have a sofa back here and dinette or theater seating up in the front. So no big deal. It still works when you're right across from the galley. This does convert into a single bed over here, but the big difference is going to be this sofa. So as you can see, this is a huge sofa, very oversized, really nice and easy to get comfortable on this thing. But instead of having a Murphy bed like the new ones, now we have this convert down to 2 side-by-side singles. And it actually works really well. It's very comfortable to sleep on. You think about that transition in the center right there. Well, actually that works out really well because it kind of subliminally, if you will, tells you where to quit encroaching on your partner's space in the middle of the night. So this really actually works out quite well. Just like the 24D, very easy to deploy the bed and move forward in that regard. Okay, so overhead storage, full length on the entire unit right here. And in this era, they didn't have just the little compression push-ins right there. They actually have latches underneath here. There's all the books, owner's manuals on everything. And this is a full continuum all the way down the side right here. So lots of storage in there. Okay, so back to the galley. Lots of overhead space up here. It's amazing how much room there are in these drawers. The top ones now are a little bit shallower, which is okay, but tons of kitchen space. If galley space, workspace is something that's important to you, this totally fits the bill. Now, just like today's units, I'm a big fan of indirect lighting, and this has some excellent indirect lighting all around. So as you can see up behind this little brow up here, the backsplash is a plexiglass formed. You can have that on, say at night when you're driving. Gives it a nice little glow in here. I didn't point out, but directly behind you over here, we do have the indirect lighting on both sides up this wall. So really nice looking. I kind of wish we could do a night video on this one so you could see that, because it is sharp. It's very sharp looking. So let's talk about sleeping in this thing. This is a quite large bed up overhead right here. So we have two on the sofa, and then we have the dinette. So this is a 5 sleeper. Even though you may find online specs on this calls it a 6, that's kind of contingent on the size of the people you're sleeping. I think this is a true 5 sleeper right here. Okay, so as we know, just like today's units, the 2 front seats do flip around and face back this way. Now, things have gotten a little more complicated on newer units up here. This is kind of back to simplicity with a lot of stuff, such as, okay, by the way, this has almost 74,000 miles on it. That equates to about 8,200 miles a year, 8,253 or something. So analog gauges up here, very easy to see right through where you want to. Controls up here are gonna let you know if there's any messages such as warnings, it's time to change your oil, that kind of thing. You can reset that system quite easily. You can have a trip computer, of course, in place right there. Then also, we can't check our engine oil with the engine running, but we know what that does now. It's due for service B in 20,000 miles, and coolant temperature. So nice and easy to access all that stuff right there. We do have phone connectivity, hands-free phone connectivity if you so desire. And we've got our, the standard touchscreen radio and navigation system over here. Plus, we can see our rear camera out the back quite easily. It's kind of nice. You'll be able to drive and see the camera out the back, which, as many of you know, you can't do that on every unit nowadays. All right, so let's see. Another thing that is really cool, and it was optional on this, is this rail here. You can't see it, but there's another one right where my fingers are, right back here. So this has the little lashing straps with Velcro, and these will open up and close off your windshield, close off your side window, or wing window, let's call it, and then your side window this way. So in a matter of seconds, you can completely close off the inside of this thing. As you know, many units have a drape that comes across here. And I mean, that's okay. You get the privacy you want. But what's important to me is to still have access of this entire area when I'm all closed up. So it's kind of nice. You can throw stuff up here. You can adjust the radio. You can peek out the window if you want quite easily. You're not stopped at this point right here or encumbered, let's say, by a drape hanging down over here. So really nice, clean appearance on this one that way. All right. Other than that, pretty simple stuff. Oh, let me make a point about this radio power thing. This is another thing that has evolved in the RV industry. So it used to be back in the old days, back when I was at an Itasca dealership as a technician, Winnebago had a dual momentary switch. And I could get into the logistics of that, but it was a little complicated system, and you had to remember not to do this and that at the same time. And so now they've simplified that, and your battery boost button right here is in the unlikely event that you left your key on, left your headlights on, left your radio going, things like that, and the battery went down to a level too low to start the engine. You can hit that, it jumps into the coach batteries and starts it up, and you can be on your way. But radio power was something that they had to learn the hard way, because it of course defaults to the radio running on the chassis portion right here, hence your battery going dead. Had to have the key in the accessory position, so on and so forth. After a few days, that could be a real problem. So they gave you the option to run your radio power, or this entire unit up here, on the house batteries. Clever, great. Well, it is still one more thing for you to remember, that you want to switch that over when you get to your destination. Nowadays, the trend has been towards everything running off of house power up here in the nav cam radio console. So they were a little ahead of the curve. They knew what was going on, that made sense for them to run that off the house batteries, saving your chassis battery, not having to go through the grief of getting a jump start or jumping it yourself right here. So I just wanted to point that out. Part of that whole evolution process for Winnebago. They're very innovative. They think of a lot of things first, and everybody else tends to copy them later on. All right, so 2016 Itasca Navion model 24M. This is 24 foot 8 inches. Yes, 2 inches longer than today's version in the 24D. I'm not sure where the 2 inches is, but so it's virtually the same size, underneath that 26 foot limit for a lot of national and state parks nowadays. So it's a key number right there, being under 26 foot. Full wall slide gives you the most floor space, the biggest galley. A lot of pluses on this right here. 2016, I think that'll do it. On the Chiron down below, of course, you can see bill.hurtado@transwest.com. Please drop me an email. I'll give you any information I can on this thing. We can talk about a trade-in. We can talk about financing, all of that stuff. I look forward to hearing from you. If you want to call me direct, my cell is 714-809-4813. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching today.